I'm Sibusiso Moyo. I'm the DVC Research, Innovation and Postgraduate Studies at Stellenbosch University. And I'm really excited about the Public Squares program. We have seen you guys, Amira and Nicola, being actively involved. So I wanted to just find out a little bit more. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do on the program? So can we start with Nicola?
Sure, thank you, Prof. So like you mentioned, my name's Nicola, and I'm the Public Squares Administrator. So I actually have a background in psychology. So I did my undergrad in communication science and psychology. And then I did my honours in psych and my master's in research psychology. And that's sort of how I got here, because I did my internship, and then that's where I met Astrid, and I was managing one of the public squares. And then I
so
moved
which one
over.
were you managing?
The social and environmental determinants of health.
Excellent. So I'll ask you a little bit more about that. And Amira, a little bit about yourself and your role in terms of the public squares.
My name is Amira Kru, and I recently joined Public Squares as the postgraduate intern. My role involves social media marketing, digital design, and writing articles. I previously did an internship in communications and marketing, and so my experience helped me land in this role. And I graduated from Stellenbosch University last year with my honours in political science.
Excellent. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, so you've been on the project for at least for a while.
Yes.
So can you tell me from the squares that you've been dealing with, what is it that you pick out? I mean, what inspires you? Is there anything that you can say, to people, like why should they be part of these public squares? What is interesting about them?
I think maybe one thing that I found when I was managing the social and environmental determinants of health one is the fact that people come from different backgrounds and they engage in research in different ways. So when you provide that space for them to come there and work on these research opportunities, it gives you a broader insight rather than just looking at from one point of view. That's definitely something that stood out for me.
That's excellent. And yourself, Amira?
For me, I can touch on what Nicola said as well. It's the transdisciplinary nature of the work that Public Squares does, which for me stood out and is unique in terms of other research that might be happening at Stellenbosch University. I think that in the time that we're living in now, it's really important for academics from different backgrounds to come together and people that have different perspectives and that are engaged in different work to come together to benefit society. And I've seen that with one of the public squares called the Science for Justice, where they are trying to help South Africa reduce the number of unidentified bodies that land up in mortuaries. They're working with visual scientists, they're working with forensic specialists, and just to see that nature of transdisciplinary work is really inspiring to help society be better off.
And I think that's a very good example of a public square, I guess, which brings together, the data science, artificial intelligence, and the arts and social sciences together as well. I think that's very interesting. Is there another one that you could think of that is doing something interesting, another public square?
There's also the early intervention public square. So they've been working hard, but then also the stunting group, and they had a panel discussion the beginning of this year, and they also had an article published recently.
In which they helped design a pilot program that will be running in the Western Cape by the Department for Health and Wellness, in which they try to reduce childhood stunting in communities such as Mitchell's Plain, where children, because of perhaps the lack of health that the pregnant mother, or the lack of health services that she could not have, or perhaps socioeconomic conditions, that means that the child is perhaps shorter than the age that they should be, and that has obviously adverse effects as the child continues throughout life. And so this program that has been designed by members of that particular public square, that brought together health specialists and economists to help design this program that includes a cash plus care sort of incentive, in which the mother gets cash to help her afford food that could be nutritious, and also help her access health care services throughout the pregnancy and afterwards to ensure that her child is more healthy.
That's amazing. And so if you, from where you are sitting, I see this is really important work that we're doing, of course, at the university. So if you had to advise us, what do you think is our reach? Are we able to, how do we communicate this to the public? Because I know that the public squares, of course, when we established them, It was really about trying to, promote transdisciplinarity, which means, not just working within the university disciplines that we have, but also bringing in, the community, the industry, the non-governmental sector, and other players. So from where you are sitting, if you have to think about, how do we reach a bigger audience other than just ourselves within the university? Any ideas from your side?
I think that one thing we've been doing is that the public squares had a lot of academic stakeholders that were involved, but now what we're trying to do is really reach out to students. And I think today, when we had the lecture today, was one of the first times we actually had some undergrad students there, so we were really happy about that. So just furthering in terms of where we, and I think Amira can touch on this, in terms of where we're posting and having posters instead of only having it on LinkedIn. But you can
Yes. I think also we live in the age of social media, and we have realized that since Nicola and I have joined, we've started various social media platform accounts for the public square, such as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and being more active on those platforms so that we can engage and reach more diverse students other than just the academics that we are in contact with. And in that way, also the public becomes aware of the work that we do at public squares, and they can also see themselves as important stakeholders, because that's what transdisciplinary research is about. It's not just about us academics, it's also about reaching those diverse public audiences.
Excellent. But thank you so much. So I'm really excited about this, and I hope that, we'll be seeing more of the public squares.
Thank you.
And really grateful about the support. I hope you're inspired, right, to take on postgraduate studies as well.
Yes.
But I like also that you said the students are involved, because we're also trying to promote undergraduate research. And we are working, for example, with Warwick University, where they also try to promote, early research careers for, undergraduate students who get involved in work as well. So I look forward to, working with you guys and seeing you more on TikTok, right? Yes.
And Prof, maybe from your side, you can let us know, how do you think that, or what role do you think that the public squares plays for the university and the institution?
Yeah, so for us, what's important is that, so that in the institutional strategy, we have research for impact as one of the focus areas that we have at a strategic level. And we wanted to really break the silos within the university and create like a knowledge hub. So we saw the public squares as one way in which we could do that. So it's a platform where we are doing exactly that. And Astrid is helping us to, she's worked very hard. Actually, she had to start from ground zero to try to bring different stakeholders together. There was a call that went out. And we've also put in a bit of seed funding at the beginning to encourage, people to get interested. But I believe this will become like our showcase. In a few years from now, we'll begin to see the impact of those, groups that we've put together, and also bringing in other stakeholders outside the university, because to solve applied problems that we face in our communities, within the country, you need to have different players in order to find a solution, like we learned during COVID-19, right? So, and I think the examples you guys have given me, at least from the public squares that you're working with, you can already see that, right? So I'm really excited about this initiative and looking forward to the future, which is really bright in terms of what we can come out with, and also opportunities. So when people come together, they can co-create together, map out, the research agenda together. Then they can apply for grants. They can also, bring in new partners from diverse groups. So I think it's a great opportunity to get to engage. And I believe also for emerging researchers who are much younger, if you already find a public square that's working, you can plug into something that exists rather than just sit in your department and wait for something to happen. Right? So I think it's really great.
So
thank you so much. It's been nice chatting.